So, as you've just heard, my name is Michael Richards. I do quite a lot of work on functional extension for the modular loop system. I'm going to talk a little bit in an introductory way, just to really set the scene for what we're trying to do with currency conversion. And I'll then hand over to the much more interesting technical people who will be taking you through fascinating demonstrations and showing you exactly what they've been achieving while I've been sitting around thinking beautiful thoughts. Okay, have we got a presentation? Because if we haven't, I could just sing a song. Yes, that's right. I think you'll like this one. Keep speaking. Okay. All right. So this will be a presentation from memory. We really had a number of objectives when we started to think about how foreign exchange would work. We made an attempt at it several years ago now, but it wasn't really very satisfactory. And in particular, we made various assumptions about how foreign exchange would be related to the actual payments. And I just want to briefly talk about how we changed those things. So first of all, we originally made the assumption that foreign exchange would happen as part of a cross-border payment, a cross-scheme payment. That's not uncommon. For instance, the BIS's Nexus product makes that assumption as well. But we thought it wasn't a good assumption because we imagined situations where a single motor loop scheme might cover more than one currency and therefore would need currency conversion internally. Also, we imagined situations where schemes, different schemes would have the same currency. For instance, in a jurisdiction where there was one scheme for banks and another scheme for mobile systems, and we wanted to connect those two together. So basically, we wanted to support two kinds of payment. The first is what we would like to call a bulk payment, and that's where a DFSP is actually purchasing currency for their own use. Now, obviously, for them to do this, they need to have ledgers in both currencies, but we wanted them to basically to be able to contact a foreign exchange provider and say, I've got 50,000 Zambian kwacha, please give me a quote for that in Malawian kwacha. And once that quote was accepted, the FXP would then credit that amount directly back to the DFSP's account in Malawian kwacha, and the DFSP could then conduct its payments in that currency. What we thought, however, would be a much more likely scenario is what we call payment versus payment. And that basically says, I want a currency conversion for this payment. Not only that, I only want this currency conversion to succeed if the payment succeeds. So if the payment succeeds, then the currency conversion is executed. If the payment fails, then the currency conversion is not executed. Now, that has some complexities because we also wanted to say, this is a matter between DFSPs and foreign exchange providers. It's not something that the motor loop switch should be doing. So we wanted to be able to say it should be executable either by the payer, DFSP, in the transfer, or by the payee, DFSP, in the transfer. And we added a bit of icing on the cake because we're like that. We like to give extra value. We also wanted to support what we call conversion via a reference currency. So the payer converts a payment into the reference currency, and the payee converts it back out of the reference currency into the target currency. So we've got a relatively complicated, probably not that complicated. It's complicated for me because I don't understand these things very well. We've got a relatively complicated set of situations. And what happens is, depending on who is doing the conversion, the messages relating to the conversion are received in different sequences. Now, if you imagine, for instance, that the payer, DFSP, is requesting currency conversion, then the execution phase goes something like this. First of all, the payer, DFSP, says, please convert the currency. The FXP comes back and says, yes, okay, I approve the conversion. I won't execute it yet because you told me not to. Now the payer DFSP can go ahead and make the payment. The payee DFSP can then respond and say, okay, I've made the payment. And now the switch can go back to the FXP and say, this payment went through, so you can set your ledgers in your currency conversion. Everything is okay. Now, that's an example of how it happens with the payer conversion, and that's what you'll be seeing in the examples that people will be, how nice. It's a little currency conversion thing. Oh, thank you very much. Any button. I'm going to keep going because we've got quite a lot of demonstration material and I don't want to get in your way. So I'm going to go through all of this stuff, which I kind of hope I've talked about. Now you will see here the sequence of messages that I've just talked about. You'll see that the messages are always the same, but they're received in different sequences, depending on which of the parties to the payment is requesting the currency conversion. Now, we are fully aligned with module loop invariance. The completion of the payment is always the last message in the sequence. The request and complete messages for currency conversion always follow each other directly. Each payment or conversion execution request message is stored with what we call the determining transfers transaction ID attached. That is the payment which must succeed in order for the conversion to succeed. And each completion message should be checked for approval and signature integrity. So the other thing we wanted to be able to do is when we were doing currency conversion, it should go through the same verification processes, the same quotation processes as a payment would go through. So it's very important for us that customers should get a chance to understand how much the exchange rate is going to be for the payment they want to make, how much will be debited from their account, and how much in the target currency will be credited to their beneficiary's account. So all of that happens, and we allow, for instance, DFSPs to make multiple requests for quotations for currency conversion. If the customer doesn't like one, they can get another one. This is a very important point for us to be able to drive down the cost of currency conversion for these areas. And a failure should result in the cancellation of every part of the payment. Success is recorded against the actions record in the switch. And that enables us to build a set of related actions in which the last action is always the successful completion of the determining transfer, which says, if this has worked, everything else should now work. Now, I want to talk just a little bit before we get on to the demo material about the API definition. Now, we've had to extend the module loop API to accommodate this. We wanted to treat currency conversion requests and responses as different kinds of things and not just as other payments. So the status of this is the technical definitions are complete. They've been published, obviously not on the main site because they're not part of the production version yet, but they are available for developers to use. The documentation has been revised and is currently under review. So that will be available once we go into production. You'll be able to see the documentation relating to currency conversion and how to do it on the main site, the same way you can everything else. And it's also important to emphasize that the API definitions and the documentation are common across the code versions. So vNext and vNow, which you've heard us talk about, have exactly the same API interfaces, and the APIs work in the same way. So there won't be any difference for an implementer, or for a DFSP, when an implementer goes from vNext to vNow as far as currency conversion is concerned. And that's also the case for payment managers. One of the things we wanted to do is to make life as easy as we possibly could for DFSPs. So they shouldn't need to know how to manage currency conversion. That's all done in the payment manager. And because the payment manager is with the DFSP, it doesn't need to be changed. The payment managers are exactly the same for vNow and vNext. So again, all of that work is done once, doesn't need to be redone for different versions of the Moduloop code. Okay, so that's where we are now, and I will now pass you across to my glamorous and much more interesting assistant, Paul Baker, who will give us a demonstration and talk through all the work that he's been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. I'm flattered. Okay, so my name is Paul Baker. I'm from Infotex, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the work we've been doing in this FX work stream, just to explain what we've done, where we are, and where we're going. For those who are interested in following along, I've got an epic link in the slide here. It's on the GitHub board, and you can follow all the progress, the stories, where we are in immense detail if you need to. So please do that. So I've titled this FX Marketplace and for a reason, and that is because I believe that's how we've designed it. So essentially in the marketplace, you have two roles: the person selling the wares and then the person buying the wares. That makes a marketplace, and that is how this implementation works. So in this demonstration, I want to demonstrate to you both sides of that. So as the DFSP participant, they're the ones buying the wares. They buy the Forex to support the transfer into a currency that they don't support. And we'll show you how that works. And then the other is the foreign exchange providers. Now, these are organizations. It's a new type of organization that we're supporting directly in Moduloop now. And these foreign exchange providers then also connect directly, and through this interface, they sort of sell their wares to different DFSPs and offer them for an exchange service. So that's what I'm going to be demonstrating to you today. So I thought it would be a good idea to start off with what's changed, because that's really what you're talking about in this work stream. So we are trying to change the current version of Moduloop to accommodate this new use case. So in the discovery phase of a transfer, this is where we identify and confirm the account information for the other participating party. We've extended this to also include supported currencies. So when that account is confirmed and the personal information against that account is sent across to the sender DFSP, the supported currencies are provided as well. So then the sender DFSP can identify that this can't be done with a normal transfer because they don't support that currency. They need to now, in fact, do a Forex transfer. Then the second change. This is about the agreement phase, where we set up the terms of the transfer before the transfer actually happens. So in the Forex use case, we have two agreements. We've got the existing agreement between the sender DFSP and the receiver DFSP as per previously, with obviously there's a change in currency in this agreement. So two different currencies. But then we have an additional agreement, and this is between, this is the use case that we built out, was the payee initiated Forex transfer. So here the sender forms an agreement with the foreign exchange provider to secure the forex that is necessary in order to facilitate the transfer. And this happens in the FX quotes resource supported module. Then the transfer phase. The transfer phase is now 2 transfers. We have a transfer in source currency from the sender DFSP to the foreign exchange provider, and then in target currency between the foreign exchange provider and the receiver DFSP. Now, the important thing, and this Michael mentioned, is these 2 transfers need to be committed together. They need to either both happen or both not happen. You know, we don't want to send out target currency before we've actually received any money. That would be a disaster. So that's built into the design. So, another part of the workstream effort we've done is we've extended the participation tools, participation support tools. And this includes connection manager and payment manager. And we've done that for all 3 parties in this transaction. So we're talking about the sender DFSP, who is now initiating that forex transfer. We're talking about integration to the foreign exchange provider. They can now connect directly into the Loop switch to supply their functionality through providing quotes and then facilitating transfers. And then the last part of it is the receiver DFSP, where they need to be mentioning their supported currencies, and this is done through a configuration. So an important thing to notice is we've built these connectors in such a way that existing connections that are built up need to be either not modified at all or modified in a really minimal way just to support the extra use case. So moving into and rolling out this forex transfer use case is not going to be onerous at all. Yeah, and the details around that will be shown in a little more detail where my colleague Vijay will be taking us through the technical demo. So next we've got the demonstration. Now I'm going to be handing over to Vijay. We've got a real live demonstration here. I would like to just set the scene a little bit. This is a hosted, fully secured Loop, so it's running with full security. The connections that we have built for the payer, the payee, and the foreign exchange provider are going through secure connections. They're going through payment manager. But all these systems have been deployed using the new version of infrastructure as code, or the bundled release of Loop, which allows you to follow best practice security and deploy that in a flexible set of environments. So moving this into an on-prem demo or a managed cloud hosted demo is not a difficult task anymore. Okay, so now I'm ready. Vijay, are you?
Yes, Paul.
So
Thanks, Paul.
hand over to Vijay.
Thanks, Paul. Hello, everyone. I'm Vijay Kumar. I'm working for Infitex as solution architect. Let me share my screen. Paul, can you stop sharing? Okay. Can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, so today I'm going to demonstrate an FX transfer flow. As Paul mentioned already, the whole all the components are deployed in the real Loop IAC deployment. So here we have payer side payment manager and payee side payment manager. The only components we are simulating here is the backend, core backend. So on the payer side, we have a mobile simulator, payer mobile simulator to simulate the core backend to send a transfer. And on the payee side, we have testing toolkit, which simulates the payee backend. It responds with mock responses. And also there is one more TTK on the FXP payment manager. So you can see we deployed FXP also as a payment manager. So we have TTK to simulate the FXP backend. So it uses the same Mojaloop connector as a DFSP deployment. And we configured the payee payment manager to support only Kenyan shillings, KES. When we make a transfer from payer using Zambian Kwacha, ZMW, it needs to go through the FXP because the payee DFSP doesn't support Zambian Kwacha. So in this demo, I'm going to show you this mobile simulator, and I will make a transfer. First, a regular transfer with Kenyan shillings. So that will be a regular transfer. And then I will make another transfer with Zambian Kwacha. Then that should involve the FX flow. And there will be currency conversion. And then after making that transfer, I will show you the position changes in the finance portal. Position changes of all these participants, payer, payee, and FXP. And also, I will show you the outbound transfer in the payment manager portal of payer and inbound transfer in the payment manager portal of the payee. So let me start with a regular transfer. So this mobile simulator is connected to the payer payment manager. So I already onboarded this party. Let's make it transfer 100 Kenyan shillings, KES. Now we got party information. I'm going to accept this party. Sorry, I think I need to connect to VPN. 1 second. Okay. So party information, I'm accepting the party. Now I got code. PFSP fee is Kenyan shillings, 2 Kenyan shillings, and the final amount is 98 Kenyan shillings. Accept code. So transfer is successful. So this is the regular transfer. There is no change in this flow. And then let me make another transfer with Zambian Kwacha. So before that, I'm going to refresh the finance portal because we need to get the positions before the FX transfer. So here we have 2 instances of the finance portal. On the left-hand side, I'm going to refresh this. So these are the positions before the FX transfer. So now I will make an FX transfer. So I'm going to select Zambian Kwacha. We got party information. Now you can see the difference between the normal transfer and FX transfer. We got conversion terms. So here sending amount 100 Zambian Kwacha, and then conversion fee 13 Kenyan shillings, and converted amount 639 Kenyan shillings. So we used some old conversion data. So this is not real-time exchange rates, of course. So I'm going to accept this conversion. Again, I got quote now. So payee imposes some more fee on top of it. So it's 12.78 Kenyan shillings. And ultimately, payee receives 626.22 Kenyan shillings. So this is just for our demonstration. In the real world use case, DFSP may not show all this information. He can show only the resultant amount and the added up fee. So I'm going to accept this quote, and transfer is successful. Now we should see the position changes. Let's go back to the finance portal. On the right-hand side, I'm going to refresh this. And on the left-hand side, these are the positions before transfer. On right-hand side, after transfer. So payer is PM for ML test 1. And you can see the difference here. Payer in Zambian kwacha, before transfer, it's 2,000. After transfer, 2,100. And PM for ML test 2, which is payee, in Kenyan shillings, it is 13,300 change. And here, after transfer, 13,940 for the payee. And if we look at the positions of FXP, there should be two movements because two currencies are involved in the FXP. So here, Kenyan shillings for FXP, 12,527. After transfer, 13,166. And Zambian kwacha, 14,514. And here, 14,414. So we got all the expected position movements. And then I will show the transfer in the portals, payment manager portals. So this is the payment manager, payer payment manager, PM for ML test 1. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I thought my connection is bad. Okay, so this is payer payment manager. You can see the transfer amount is in Zambian shillings. And this is the payee payment manager. Transfer amount, it is in Kenyan shillings. So, yeah, that is it about the demo. So if we see the difference here, there is no conversion step, and here there is a conversion, currency conversion step. Yeah, that's it from me. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Vijay. That's amazing. Really enjoyed that. I'm just trying to get back to the presentation quickly. Relief. Okay, so oh, shit, that's not working. So what's next? In this work stream, we are working towards hardening this functionality so we can in fact include it in a release. This is POC still, but we've already begun the process of building that into release. So we just need to work through that. And then the UIs could do with a bit more upgrading in terms to support the two different currencies in the Forex transfers, just to make it easier to navigate. So that's it. Thank you. I think, yeah, thanks to the team who worked on this. That's there. And now we're going to hand over to, he's going to, is that right? Yeah. Who's going to be presenting the workstream effort that they've been doing on the vNext sub workstream. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Al, CTO of this awards. Okay. Today, I'm going to present the vNext FX Workstream progress and also the EDR changes that we are making. Currently, in our implementations, we are using this PSI conversion only, also with the amount type as a send. Okay, for the discovery phases, we are now making changes in this area for account lookup PCs, and also for this DFSP side, we are adding the put party call with supported currency changes. The next thing is currency conversion phase. This phase is to find out the FXP services available in the hub. So for these phases, we have to make changes in participant bounded context, and also we have to add a new bounded context, which is called the FX, and then we have to modify inside the FSP IOB, which is an interop PC. And also we have to put changes inside the DFSP layer to support these new API calls, such as get services FX and put services FX callback. Okay, this is the last phase we are currently implementing. In this code phase, there are two parts. The first part is to find out the FX code. For the FX code changes, we have to do inside the FX bounded context and also inside the DFSP layer. And also we have to implement another connector for FXP to support these API calls. Okay, this is the second phase in the code phase. So this phase is after we have received the FX information, we have to do the code calls to PE side. So we also have to make changes in this phase. This is the overall architecture that we are currently making changes in vNext to support the FX. This is just a summary that just now I have shared. Okay, this one is our current progress. We have already finished the implementing app to code phase. The remaining part is to implement the transfer phases only. So we are targeting to complete this transfer phase by end of June. Okay, that's all for vNext FX. Thank you.